Good evening. The federal government has announced funding support for the LGBTQ plus community, saying it's addressing historical and ongoing inequalities faced by members here in Toronto and beyond, adding that Canada must do better. The funding will be shared between 19 different organizations, including the 519 here, and it comes at a time when the city is still reeling from the alleged serial killings of several Torontonians, including one man who was laid to rest today.
This is the family, friends, and the community who knew Krishna Kumar coming to finally pay their respects to him in a respectful manner.
On a quiet street on Markham today, Krishna Kumar Kanagaratnam is laid to rest. He is one of the alleged victims in Toronto's Village serial killing case. Bruce MacArthur is charged in connection with his death and that of several others. The case has rocked the city.
We're all needing to learn from this and really step up to care for those who don't have a lot here and who are trying to establish themselves here.
It takes one incident to uncover everybody's true lived experiences and their true stories.
Concerns of safety regarding members of the LGBTQ plus communities and police relations have been propelled onto the national stage. Pride Toronto, the 519, and 17 other organizations are the recipients of the government's funding of $450,000 aimed at addressing institutional and systemic barriers and improving relationships.
After the last year and a half, it's been clear that we have to do more around understanding not only who offends in this community, but who gets victimized in this community, and to try to figure out better ways of preventing some of these more extreme incidents from taking place.
The Canadian government saying these injustices need to be rectified. Part of a statement from the Ministry of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness notes that LGBTQ plus adults and youth disproportionately face hardships that are risk factors for crimes and victimization. Quote, some of these factors include higher rates of poverty, overrepresentation in the youth homeless population, and overrepresentation in the foster care system. Despite these risk factors, there is a lack of study and available data on LGBTQ plus people who come into contact with the criminal justice system as offenders or as victims.
I want to see everybody put one hand in the air.
The first step Pride Toronto is taking is to learn about what safety issues exist throughout Canada and how to address them. Then Pride Toronto wants to start developing pilot programs, already identifying missing persons as an area that needs attention.
We want some of this money to contribute to finding positive solutions to how it is we go about more quickly identify when people in this community go missing and make sure that we are mobilizing our resources to keep them safe. So if just in that one area alone, so much needs to be done. Again, where we would like this money to become incredibly useful is the Two-Spirit community. We want to better understand what the experience of Two-Spirit Indigenous communities are, what their experience is of criminal justice, both as a member of the Indigenous community.
The organization Alliance for South Asians AIDS Prevention has been outspoken about the issues affecting not only those who identify as LGBTQ+, but minorities who face additional challenges accessing services. The executive director hopes some of that funding will go towards bridging community services, residents, and police organizations.
And how do we, bolster some of those newcomer programs that exist and offer education and support and help newcomers understand that if you are a refugee in this country, that you can still go to the police and not fear deportation, right? And that's the huge thing here.
And the feds tell me this is just one-time funding, but Pride Toronto says they're not only depending on the government's money to roll out their pilot projects and initiatives throughout the year, they'll also be working to raise that money themselves. Their hope is to have at least $500,000 annually.